How's life? Today we're going to talk about anorexia, what we can do when we're around a person who suffers from anorexia. Let's begin with our mindset. Change your mind. This is a chronic illness. It's going to last a long time and it's really difficult to understand. It cannot be solved with common sense. So just imagine you have this serious chronic illness and you have to deal with it with whoever's suffering from it. So number one, imagine this is something very mysterious. It's going to last a long time. It's going to take up a lot of energy and you have to be ready for that. You didn't create this illness and you cannot solve it either. So forget about the illness. What you can do is you can focus on the person. Just imagine these movies that we watch these days about people who are possessed by a kind of a demon and it comes into them and then it possesses them and they're somewhere inside there and they're possessed but they're somewhere inside there. Okay, this is my trick when I'm working with somebody who has a very uncomfortable complaint, and they can be nagging and they can be difficult. It's essential to separate the person from the difficulty they have, because believe me, you're going to want to shake it out of them. You're going to want to strangle them. You're going to want to make them reason themselves into normality again. It's impossible. You're just going to be hurting the person who's possessed by this illness. Now, who's going to cope with the illness? Their team. There's going to be a team of psychiatrists and psychologists and maybe occupational therapists and maybe a hospital. They're going to be in charge of the illness, but you are going to be in charge of the person, and that's what you need to do. Look at that person. Look into their eyes. Look into their soul. You know they're in there somewhere. Continue to be in touch with them, okay? Remember, somewhere in there is your sister, your daughter, your mother, your brother, whoever they are, okay? Remember they're in there. Third thing, create an emotionally and intellectually nurturing environment. Forget about nurturing the body. Think about nurturing the soul, the mind, nurturing aesthetics, nurturing excitement. But make it an offer. The same as when you feed somebody, you don't force feed them. You offer, you tempt, you have it around, like flowers, like an interesting game, like an interesting movie. Not in a challenging way, not trying to influence them, but offering it, having it hanging around there so it's available, so life is interesting, so there's more than just work and food. There have to be lots of other things. And if you're going to do family meetings or other meetings, let food not be the center of all of that, okay? It can be there, but it can't be the most important thing, because then they're going to feel very uncomfortable indeed. Another thing, remember to concentrate on your process. Don't think about the results that are happening with the person who has anorexia. Don't think about their weight. Forget about it. That's the team. The doctors are there for that. The psychologists are there for that. Your commitment as a friend and a family member is to do what the team tells you to do and to concentrate on being in your role. Don't lose your temper, please. You are going to lose it as little as possible, okay? Another thing, remember that love is very important, and loving somebody is trying to understand them. Trying to understand anorexia is important, so I'm going to tell you a bit about what anorexia can mean deep down, and that's very important. Keep serene, don't lose it, okay? And believe me, you're going to want to lose it. Don't give in. Number 5, remember that this illness is something that's going to affect all the people in the community, all the family members, all the friends, because sometimes it can threaten the person's life seriously. So everybody who loves that person is going to feel threatened. And remember not to confuse the patient and their behavior with the illness. They are kind of possessed, if you want to call it that way. Don't blame them. Don't try to shake it out of them. Keep in your role, listen to your team, make plans, and look after yourself. Because if you become worn out, if you become furious, if you become desperate, you won't be able to help. So get out of there, okay? There is no use in you telling them what they have to do. This is not happening with the logical brain. This is happening with something that has to do with the heart. Okay, so I'm going to put it into 5 things. This is a chronic disease, it's long-term, and it's really weird. 2, you didn't create it, you can't solve it, but you can rescue the person who's possessed inside that disease. 3, create an emotional and an intellectual environment that is nurturing, that's interesting, and separate the relationship from food. 4, you can only do what you can do. Stay in the process. Look after your reactions. Be careful not to lose it. And you're going to want to lose it. Learn to love them unconditionally. And 5, in order to be able to do all of this, get out. Look after yourself. Don't stay in the place where this is happening too long, because nobody can sustain it for a long time. Okay? So, that's what we have to do about anorexia. Now, understanding anorexia. Anorexia is one of those illnesses of the soul in the sense of what animates us, what makes us feel happy. Basically, it's a terrible disease where you lose hope. Hope is lost. Hope is destroyed to a certain extent. And who takes its place? Here we are. Idealism. Something ideal, something perfect, a need to control. Now, it's extremely difficult to solve this. Therapists spend years and years and years trying to learn how to talk people closer to hope and further away from idealism. And so you shouldn't try it. Just keep this in your mind. It's a loss of faith, it's a loss of hope, it's a loss of trust, and it's very difficult to recover that. So remain in contact with that person from a human level. A human level is all you have to give, and it's magnificent.